Welcome to the Chamber Vibes podcast with your host, Brittany Timmons, the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce CEO and President. In this podcast, you will hear from local guests who will discuss topics such as leadership, small business, and our vibrant community. You'll also hear success stories and tips from amazing local businesses, dive into important news, meet community leaders, and find out how you can get involved in our community. From the Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful and historic downtown Guthrie, America, here is Brittany Timmons.
Hello everyone, Brittany here with the Guthrie Chamber, and it's time for another episode of Chamber Vibes. So today I've got my friend Nikki on from CASA for Kids, that serves Logan and Payne County. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, awesome. So CASA, you guys have been here for quite some time in Logan County. Yes, but I would love, we have so many new people in Guthrie right now. We've got new businesses, we've got people that have just started working here, moving here, all of those things. So there might be some people watching or listening that may not know what CASA is. So what is CASA?
Sure. So CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. It is a nationwide program, and it is basically if a child is in DHS custody and going through court hearings and that process, if they've been removed from their home, the judge or the DA or even sometimes the DHS workers can say that this case or these children might benefit from a CASA. Okay. And what that means is sometimes these kids, when they're removed, maybe don't have adequate family support or outside help. So a CASA sort of walks alongside them during this court case to advocate for that child on their best interest. So it's like the voice of the child in the courtroom, and also, the needs the child might have during that process.
Okay. And does the CASA kind of help explain what's going on maybe on more of their level to help them understand? Just because I can imagine that being a terrifying process for some children.
So one of the goals of CASA is to be the one constant for the children for the duration of the case. So unfortunately, the system that serves these children is overworked. And so they might have multiple workers on a case. They might have multiple foster placements. So CASA really strives to be the constant from the start of their case to the end. So that child can build that relationship and be more comfortable and have a person that they can say what they might be feeling or needing, that they might not have the opportunity, or feel comfortable to speak with somebody else in the case, or like an official in the case.
Okay, that makes sense. So how long have you been with CASA? Let's talk a little bit about your story.
So I started with CASA during COVID, actually.
Fun times during COVID.
I was sworn in 2020, and I took my first case then.
And at this time you were
just a volunteer. Yes,
okay.
I was a volunteer. What my role in that was, I met with the child. You meet with the DHS worker, the child's teachers, their doctors, their therapists, just to get an overall picture of how the child is doing. And also the bio parents. Sometimes you're working with those parents and they're working their services, in order to get their kids back. So you kind of... you attend their court hearings with them. And so I recently just left that case now that I am working for CASA.
Okay.
But I was with a sibling set, and they are still in custody. So they've been in DHS custody it'll be 3 years in June. So it is a lengthy commitment, but it is worth it. The only reason I felt comfortable leaving as a volunteer is that I still can check in on them, working with CASA still. And then I started working for CASA in November.
Okay, yeah. So fairly new to being an employee.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and so you having been a volunteer, that's where your love for it, began, right? And
for sure.
Then, so you really know the other side of that,
Right.
It's kind of like I actually worked for a company who was a chamber member before I took over the chamber, and it was really helpful actually because I was a chamber member, so I understood the chamber and all of that before I actually worked for the chamber. So
right.
You've been on both sides.
Yeah, and I feel like it leads me to be a better supervisor of volunteers. because I've been exactly where they've been. I've had to have those awkward conversations
Right.
or maybe uncomfortable conversations, and you don't know how to start, and you don't know how can you build this relationship with the parents when they might be distrusting of the system or attorneys or the courts or law enforcement, and we're none of those things. We don't answer to them. We are our own nonprofit, so that too helps. Sometimes it gives the parents an opportunity to say how they really feel without the fear of, if I tell them this, or it's going to be worse for me.
Right.
And we can provide them with the resources and point them in the right direction to get the help that they might need.
Right. So, so you're in the Guthrie office.
Yes.
Yes, which we do have a CASA office.
Yes,
Lots of
we
people.
do.
I just talked to someone yesterday that didn't realize that, and so we do have a CASA location. It's over off of Wentz. Is that right?
Yes.
Wentz and Cleveland area.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I did not write that down, and I love when I can just sometimes get things right in my head. Yes. And so that's where you guys train volunteers.
Yes. So
okay.
If you're interested in being a volunteer, obviously there is an application process because you will be working directly with children. So we want to ensure that we have people in place that can safely be around children.
Yes.
But once that happens, you go through that process. We have an in-person interview, and then we have a training session. We actually have one starting at the end of April. It's 5 weeks. You'll do the majority of the coursework on your own online, and then we meet once a week to go over that information. There's lots of interaction and role playing, and how would you start this conversation? How would you handle this? So it gets you a little bit of in-person practice, so you're prepared when the time comes for you to take that case.
Okay. And so how many children on a yearly basis in Logan County do you guys serve?
Well, I will. That number varies.
Sure.
But I can say right now we have over 50 children waiting for a CASA in Logan County.
Wow.
That is Logan County. That's not any of the other counties we serve.
That's right here. That's home.
Yes. The kids that your kids are going to school with, they are the kids that you're seeing at the ball games. And there's cases where the parents are working and doing their best to get their kids back, and there's cases where that's just not going to be possible. Right. So CASA sort of is just that extra set of eyes to help an overworked system, and just ensuring. It could be something as easy as, I think this kid needs to get his eyes checked and he might need glasses. Or it could be something as significant as, he needs some more counseling, or he does not need to return home with his parents. And it just varies, case by case.
Right. So obviously I think that your biggest need right now is volunteers.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. So we're going to scream that from the rooftops. Definitely volunteers. And you can, I know it was brought up a minute ago, you can go to their website for a lot more information, casaforkids.com, and they've got a volunteering section on there and ways that you can get plugged in. So for people listening or watching that may be interested in volunteering, what if they're thinking, oh, I can't do that. I'm not qualified, or I'm too busy, or I'm not old enough, or I'm not young enough, or so what type of person makes a good volunteer?
Right. We have all ages. We have retired people. We have students in college. We have working professionals. The one thing, obviously it is a time commitment. However, the only thing that is set would be every 90 days their case is heard before the judge, and you would obviously go to that hearing.
Sure.
Other than that, everything else is around your schedule. Okay. So because we are a recognized nonprofit, and all of our volunteers are sworn in to the court system, they have a court order. That court order allows you to visit the child in school. So let's say you can take a lunch break. You can pick up, McDonald's and head over to the school and eat lunch with your kiddo and talk with them that way. Or we have a lot of volunteers. We have family team meetings, and there's joint visitation. So you can go visit the child while they're visiting their siblings, and you can see two at once. The requirements that we have monthly are you meet with the child, you meet with your supervisor, which would be, Carrie or I, and you meet with DHS, and you meet with the bio parents. In person, you have to see the child in person, but it can be an email, it can be a phone call, it can be you see them at court. There's ways, and that's kind of where we can come in and help you to figure out how we can fit that into your schedule. On average, we say it's 10 to 12 hours a month. And that could be the emails and the phone calls, but in person, it is about an hour. We like your visits to be an hour with the child, but once a month.
Okay. So what all would somebody need to do if they say, okay, I want to volunteer? What's kind of the next steps, like to get them to the sworn-in process?
Sure. So the next step, you go to the website, you fill an application, or you can stop in the office, and we can do it from there. After the application, your references are checked, and then we do an in-person interview. And then your information is sent off to various agencies for background checks. Then once that background check comes back, and usually we'll start the training process before those come back. And then you start your training process. At the very end of that training, you'll do a court observation, which is honestly my favorite part, because you get to see how it works and how the attorneys work with the DHS workers, and how, Judge Duell is who oversees our docket, and he's amazing.
Yes.
And so you get to see kind of how all that works. And then after that, you would be sworn in, and then you would get to pick from our available cases.
Okay.
In some counties, they are privileged to have volunteers in waiting.
Wow.
So they take whatever case comes next. Unfortunately, or fortunately, in our county, we have so many available cases that you could specify that you wanted to work with a certain age group. If you want to help teenagers, if you want to help, with a baby, we have the options. So you could work with whatever age group that you felt comfortable.
Okay, wow. So since you were a volunteer before, you're now on the employee side, doing that work for CASA. Do you have like a good or a story about maybe one of the clients that you were able to help?
Sure. So in my particular case, I think they were on worker number 5. Between the two siblings, I think we were up to 7 or 8 different foster placements. And these kids just didn't have anyone. I came onto the case, and it took a while to build those relationships. And they were very much, and the culture and that these kids come from is you don't trust the outsiders. You don't share the information. What happens in our family stays in our family. Unfortunately, that's fairly common. But because their workers were changing so significantly, and they weren't building those relationships with their foster placements, they made disclosures of additional abuse that had happened, and so because of that, I feel pretty strongly that if there had not been a CASA on that case, these children would have been returned home, and they would have been returned home to be abused again, without a doubt. And so that is you could see it happening. I could see that this was the parents were trying their best, and they were making their best effort. And unfortunately, sometimes that's not enough. If they lack that ability to protect their children, just because they're checking off the boxes doesn't mean they get it.
Right.
And having a CASA on the case to see that, yes, I understand they're checking the boxes, and I know they love their children, but they don't understand the risks that they're putting their children in. If there had not been a CASA, they would have gone home, and I have no doubt that they would have been continued to be abused.
So you feel like truly, you saved their lives possibly.
For sure.
Or at least their lives from getting worse than where they already were.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like CASA volunteers are truly miracle workers and just life-changing.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say, I can't foster because I love the kids so much and I'd want to take them home. This is, for me, I sort of felt that same way, and I thought, well, maybe CASA is the way to go, because you're playing just an important role,
sure,
but you're not necessarily developing the bond that you would if the child was in your home and you think, I could never give them back. Well, the good news with CASA is after their case is finished, obviously it's up to the child and their family or their foster family, but the majority of our CASAs remain in these kids' lives.
Right.
So you go on to see them graduate.
Like lifetime relationships.
Yes, you turn into like crazy Aunt Nikki after the case is done. Guess what? I can come over whenever I want now, and they can't stop me. So, that is definitely, it makes the hard days and hearing the things that you hear absolutely worth it.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I just got goosebumps. I'm just like, that's so absolutely amazing. Because, like I said, I think that people have heard CASA. Because how long do you know have you guys been in Logan County serving our area?
I'm honestly not 100% sure. I do believe that CASA in Oklahoma started in 1987.
Yeah, so a while.
So, and I think, Logan County has been established for a significant period of time here. So,
right. But you guys are doing a really good job of like getting out in the community and saying, hey, we're here and we have a huge need. And like I said, I feel like there's probably just a lot of new people in the community and stuff that just don't even know.
Yes, and we definitely need, obviously we have tapped into the retired community here because they obviously have more time available, but it is absolutely doable as a working professional. And on that same realm, we really need men. A lot of these boys and teenagers and young kids don't have any, positive male influences in their lives. And we do have male volunteers, but you can see the difference in those boys when it's someone that they can relate to and, meet them kind of on their level, whereas I don't know everything about boys.
Right. Me neither. I'm a girl mom. So yeah, I don't. Yeah. Wow. So, okay, there you all heard it. Are there any other ways that people can help if they're not able to volunteer?
Yes, you can always give me your money.
Yeah.
We partner with the United Way, but we also are able, because we're a nonprofit, we're able to accept donations at any time, whether we have a campaign running or not. You can help us. For example, on Saturday, we're having a pickleball clinic.
Yes.
We will always take volunteers at those, or you can sign up and learn how to play pickleball.
Yeah, and is that a first for this area?
Yes.
At our pickleball courts.
Yes, the pickleball courts. I was in a state of the city meeting, and they said they're ready, and I said I want to be the first. So I called around and got some big names in the pickleball world, and they're coming to town and they're volunteering their services. So every bit of money raised in this tournament goes straight back into the program.
That's awesome.
And so we're hoping that it's going to be a great day.
What's registration look like right now? Pretty good.
Sure.
No? Oh, we need some more.
we could use a lot more. Right
Even
now,
if you don't know how to play pickleball?
Yes, because it's a clinic. So they're going to give us one-on-one tips on how to be the
you don't have to be a professional like Doug Ogle.
Correct. They're bringing the paddles. All you got to do, we bought the balls. All you got to do is show up.
Okay. And so how much is that?
$35. That includes your T-shirt.
Okay.
And we do still have some T-shirts left, so I can't guarantee your size unless you hurry, but we've got those available.
And people can just show up the day of as
Absolutely.
well? Okay,
Absolutely.
so what time does that start?
It starts at 10 o'clock, 10 to 12 in Mineral Wells Park.
On April the 1st. So if you're watching this at a later time, you might be like, when's Saturday? So April the 1st.
Yes.
At 10 o'clock at Mineral Wells.
Yes.
So I love that. I love that you guys are doing a fundraiser here in Guthrie.
Yes, it has been a really long time. And I think I was told that there has never been a CASA fundraiser in Logan County because we do partner with Payne, so it ends up being in that direction more often.
And we love our friends in Stillwater, but
yes, it was kind of important for me to stay in the community that I'm working in.
Absolutely. I love that. And you guys have been coming to all the chamber events and promoting it. And it's been great to have you guys plugged in. So you and Carrie are here in the Guthrie office?
Yes.
Okay. And so what are your hours look like if somebody were to just stop by the office?
Usually, I can always guarantee 9 to 4 that one of us is in there, unless it's a court day, which those are usually Wednesdays. We are at the courthouse all day listening to all of those cases because currently we track every juvenile deprived case in Logan County. So that way, if we were to have a CASA volunteer available, we could give them an up-to-date report of what's happening in the case. So we do stay there all day and track those cases.
Okay, got ya. So there you go. Also, you did touch on it briefly. Like she mentioned, they are one of the partner agencies for the United Way of Logan County, and we have had Miss Debbie Kirk on with United Way of Logan County, and they're doing such great things, and we have so many what they call their pace setter businesses people are donating out of their payroll checks, and what's neat about that is when they give to United Way of Logan County, it stays in Logan County, and CASA does benefit
absolutely
from that.
Absolutely, so, we could not make it without them. And then also the perk of us being here in office is that anything that is donated to us would stay local to serve Logan County kids. So it's straight from your pockets to the kids that we serve. So.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being on today. Is there anything else you want to cover or anything else coming up that we need to know about?
I don't think so. We do have like I said, the training starting in the end of April. So there's plenty of time. If you're interested, if you have any questions, to come by. I'll take you to lunch.
Okay.
To give you all the details. And then we could just really use your help.
Okay, yes. And even if you're not able to help, please share the information, because you never know who is looking for that calling, for something to do or some way to be helpful. And CASA definitely could use them, put them to work. So, yes. Well, thank you for all the good that you're doing in the community.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
I know that you guys are making a huge difference in our kids' lives, and it's huge. So thank you for everything. So there you have it, CASAforkids.com. They're also on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes?
Facebook. If you come by the office, you'll get a card, and it has my personal cell phone number on it. We're in the office here. Our number is 293-6200.
Okay.
But you can always stop in.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have trouble reaching them in any way, they are, of course, one of our valued chamber investors, so you can reach out to the chamber office as well, and we can get you in touch with them. So thank you so much. I hope the pickleball clinic goes well. It looks like it's going to be great weather.
I think so.
So there you go.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
It is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They can change its mind.
Very true. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive here for you, Nikki. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, and thanks to everyone tuning in. Please share, and we'll catch you next time on Chamber Vibes.
Thanks for listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast from Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful downtown Guthrie, America. Be sure and check out a new episode every other Monday. And until then, remember to choose Guthrie.